Hello, everyone. So today we will conduct the assignment guidance session for statistics in industry and commerce. So just to go through a brief overview of what we have covered in the session so far. So the first one is to understand the importance and use of statistics in business contexts. Then we also gone through for the use of experimental design in business contexts. Then understanding the use of ANOVA, which is analysis of variance in business context. Then understanding the use of time series analysis in business contexts. And we also looked into the use of estimations and confidence intervals with respect to business context and the use of statistics in quality control. So this assignment, it requires you to go through a case study context. So the case study is a simple description is given. So you have been employed by a small manufacturing organization as a trainee. So your manager is trying to convince others in the organization that they should use more statistical analysis to improve their processes and quality control. So there is some resistance by the employees who have been there for many years, and they feel the level of analysis is not required and would just waste time. So this is the brief case study overview. So your manager has asked you to draft a guide that he can use when explaining the importance of statistical analysis to others in the organization. So this assignment has different tasks. So we will go through each of the tasks one by one. So the first task is the introduction to the guide. So here you have to explain the importance and use of statistics in business context. So in each of the tasks, I have listed down an indicative word count. So again, then the next one is that you should cover the use of statistics for the following context, which is data-driven decision-making, forecasting, business planning, quality control, human resources, and then other areas which we have discussed in our sessions. So again, the indicative word count for this is 200 words each. And it is better if you can provide real life examples in the introduction to the guide. So this is the task one. And this is the indicative word count, which has been, which you are able to see in the screen. So the next task is the use of experimental design. So in this, so the brief description of this task is that your manager thinks this could be used, this means experimental design could be used to look at the impact of health and safety training on the number of injuries to the factory floor employees. So in under this context, you have to explain the purpose and use of experimental design in this context. So remember that your assignment should be in the context of health and safety training on the number of injuries. So this the word count is 300 words. Then you have to outline the principles of experimental design. So which is again 300 words. So again, it will be in the context of health and safety training. And discuss any issues related to experimental design in the given context. So basically, what issues can the organization face in implementing experimental design? That for achieving the distinction criteria, you have to assess the benefits of using paired comparisons and blocking to reduce experimental error. So for this, the indicative word count is 700 words. So again, here you have to use the context of health and safety training on the number of injuries to factory floor employees. So the third task, it relates to ANOVA testing. So in this, the context is your manager thinks that ANOVA testing could be used to measure the quality of materials used in the manufacturing process supplied by different suppliers. So he believes there is a difference in quality. So this task, it basically relates to the use of ANOVA testing. So in this task, you have to explain the use of ANOVA tests, like how it could be used for measuring the quality of materials used in the manufacturing process. So this will be around 200 words. Then identifying the assumptions underpinning the ANOVA tests, which is 200 words. Then describe using examples how to conduct one-way and two-way ANOVA test. So again, this will be in the context. So this you can make it for 300 words. And then next you can explain using examples how different results can be interpreted. So in the context of measuring the quality of materials used in manufacturing processes. So again, the business and how the business might use a Latin square. So this you can use a word count of 200 words. So remember, all these word counts are just indicative. You can exceed the word count, but not much than say 20%. And then for merit, you can like analyze the assumptions underpinning the ANOVA test. So in the first section, you are explaining the ANOVA, and then for merit task, you have to dig a bit deeper and analyze the assumptions which underpin the ANOVA tests. Then task 4 is related to the time series analysis. So in time series analysis, your manager thinks this could be used to forecast company sales which are seasonal. So in this, your task is to explain the use of time series analysis in this context, like how time series can be used to forecast company sales and identify the components of a time series. Then explain using examples how to carry out calculations of moving average to identify a trend, seasonal factors, and weighted index for price, quantity, cost, and value. So again, this could be related to the forecasting the company sales for the given time series. Then you can explain, you can describe using examples how the results of time series date can be presented, including both additive and multiplicative series. So this you can consider for up to 300 words. Then explain using examples how findings from calculations and graphs may be interpreted. So this you can consider up to 250 words. And then finally, explain how Lasperas and PASH index numbers might be calculated in the context of forecasting company sales, which are seasonal. So this task is essentially related to the time series analysis. You can always refer to the slides or the reference textbook materials which are uploaded on your portal to work for the assignment. So again, this task also has an extension activity. So for merit, you have to evaluate the importance of the following time series results, which is factors change of base year, seasonally adjusted values, forecast values, and index linking. So basically, you have to evaluate the importance of each of the following. Like you have to relate it to the time series with respect to the forecasting company sales. So next is use of estimations and confidence intervals. So in this task, the description is that your manager wants you to identify where these might be used and give an example. So you can explain the concept of sampling distribution and confidence intervals. For example, if you're measuring the defects in of the some of the components, so you can select on what basis you can select the sample and what confidence intervals can be chosen, and outline where confidence intervals can be used in business. So again, in this also you can how to determine the confidence interval. So remember, you don't have to actually carry out a t-test or a in the concept for all these assignments. So you have to determine the confidence interval for a mean using the t-distribution for small samples, and then the confidence interval for a proportion and the sample required to obtain the confidence interval of given size for stated probability. So again, it is descriptive. You don't have to actually conduct a t-test. Then for merit, you have to assess the value of using confidence intervals for the business. Then finally, the task 6 is the quality. It relates to quality control. So in this, the context is this is the area where the manager thinks statistical analysis would make most difference. So the requirements from you is that the first is you should define quality control, and quality assurance. So for this, the indicative word count is around 400 words. Then you have to explain a range of statistical techniques used for quality control and improvement. So this you can consider up to 300 words. And then explain using examples how the following quality techniques are applied in business context. So all of these techniques, you have to give a short description or introduction, and then you can explain using examples. So Pareto analysis, statistical process control, capability charts, acceptance sampling. So you can go through a few of the books, you can browse the internet, and you can see where you can get the examples. Then you have, for distinction, you can compare the use of statistical process control charts and capability charts in business. So you have to draw a comparison for SPC and capability charts. So that is your task 5. And for distinction, the indicative word count is 700 words. So that is all for your assignment discussion. So you have to submit this assignment within 2 weeks from today, because the general rule is you should submit your draft of the assignment within 2 weeks from the completion of assignment discussion session. And in between, if you have any doubts, you can always reach out to us. So and that is all for today's session. If you have any questions, you can let me know.
Hi, Sanjay. Yeah, I've got a couple of questions.
Yeah.
So the first one is, obviously we've got 2 weeks
Yes.
now to get the assignment in. Are we going to have? Are we starting the next unit within these 2 weeks? Or are we going to not have another session now for the next 2 weeks?
See, for this module, today is the last session which is concluding. So I think for other sessions you are asking, right?
Yes. When do we start the next module? Do we start that next week, or is it in 2 weeks' time after the deadline?
So what we can do, we can take a 1 or 2 weeks break, and then we can start the next module. So in the meantime, you can go through the assignment and you can work on the assignment.
Okay. And then what was my other question? I had a question that links to, I think it's task 3. Is around it's a section around like ANOVA testing.
Mm-hmm.
2 of the criteria. One of them is identify assumptions around ANOVA testing, and then for the merit, it's analyze the assumptions around ANOVA testing. Kind of linked those 2 together and like answered it in like one section, because I feel by analyzing it, you kind of are already identifying it. So I've written, like, I put them sort of together, one bit identifying and the next bit basically just like discussing the impact. Is that all right?
Just a second. So I will just open ANOVA testing. Right. Okay. So here you said identify the assumptions
Yeah.
and analyze the assumptions.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So what you can do, you can just give us, see, this is 200 words. You can just list out the assumptions. So this is the assumption. And in the merit task, you can analyze in detail. You can give the pros and cons of the assumptions, basically its applications. So that way you can give out a detailed in the merit task.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's just I've put them sort of together, but still covering both those points. Yeah. Okay, cool. And then I had another question, but it seems to have slipped my mind. No, I can't think of it. I'll let Jack ask any questions.
No worries. You can always reach out to us. No issues at all.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a nice day. Thank you.
Yeah, I did have a couple of questions, if that's okay.
Yes, please. Yes.
For the assignment 1, I was sent over sort of like a model answer or a previous one that really helped me out to understand like the layout and how I should be writing my assignment to get the best grade possible. Is there a chance you could send me that for this one as well, please?
Okay, I will check with Mr. Raman and the academic team, and I will get back to you on that.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, Sanjay, I just remember my last question. My question was, are these slides going to be put up on Moodle? So I don't think they're up there at the moment.
Sorry?
Are these slides going to be put on Moodle, the slides that you just shown us?
Yeah, the slides will be uploaded right now. I will be sending it to Mr. Raman, and it will be uploaded immediately so that you can have a look at the slide, as well as the recording will be available for you for reference.
All right. Oh, yeah, of course, there's the recording. All right, brilliant. That's great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a nice day.
You too.
All right, thank you very much.